So hi guys, maayong adlaw. Welcome to NatzMath TV. So for today's video, my presentation is about solving problems involving arithmetic sequence and arithmetic series. This is now the application of the concepts of arithmetic sequence and arithmetic series. So without further ado, let us proceed directly to our examples. So let us have example number 1. We are given Robert made a weekly deposit from his school allowance as follows: 15 pesos on the first week, 20 pesos on the second week, 25 pesos on the third week, and so on. He made deposits for a total of 30 weeks. We are told to find the amount of his last deposit and the total savings after 30 weeks. So in this problem, we are told to find two unknowns. Number one is the amount he deposited on the 30th week. That is the amount of his last deposit, the 30th week. And of course, the second unknown is the total savings he made from the first week up to the 30th week. So the second unknown is the sum, which involves the concept of arithmetic series. So in the problem, we have 15, 20, and 25. So we can formulate this sequence as our first term, which is 15, second term is 20, and the third term is 25, and so on until the 30th week. So in this sequence, we can identify our given, which is a sub 1, our first term, which is 15. Our common difference is 5, that is 25 minus 20, and 20 minus 15, that is 5. And of course, the number of terms is 30, since Robert made 30 deposits for a total of 30 weeks. Of course, our unknown is a sub 30, which is the amount of his last deposit on the 30th week or the 30th term, and the sum of all his savings from the first week until the 30th week. That means S sub 30. So for the solution, we need to solve first for the A sub 30, which is the 30th term or the amount he deposited in the 30th week. So we will use the formula a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times our common difference. So we will substitute, instead of writing a sub n, we will be using a sub 30, which is the 30th week. Then our first term is given here, which is 15, plus our number of terms, which is 30, minus the constant 1, and the common difference is 5. Then we simplify, we subtract 30 minus 1 will give us 29. Then we multiply this 29 by 5 will give us 145. Then add 15 plus 145 will give us 160 pesos. So meaning the 30th term in this sequence is 160 pesos. This is the amount of Robert's last deposit. So on the 30th week, Robert deposited 160 pesos. Now to solve for the second unknown, which is the sum of all his savings from the first week up to the 30th week, we will have solution number 2. And of course, we will be using this formula. Since we already have the last term, which is the 30th term, which is a sub n or a sub 30, which is 160. Or we can use the second formula with the common difference because we are given here the common difference. But for the shorter solution, we will be using this formula. S sub n equals n over 2 times the first term plus the a sub 30 or the last term. So we will be using S sub 30, which is equal to our n is 30 over 2. Then our first term is 15. That's why we use 15. Plus our a sub n is 160. So where did we get 160? That is the 30th term, which is a sub 30. This time, we simplify these terms inside the parentheses, that is 15 plus 160 will give us 175, and 30 divided by 2 will give us 15. Then we multiply 15 times 175 will give us 2,625. This means that the total savings that Robert made from first week up to the 30th week is 2,625 pesos. This is Robert's total deposit after 30 weeks. Okay, let's proceed to example number 2. House rentals in Cebu City increases each year by 500 pesos of the previous year's rental. If a house is rented for 6,500 this year, how much is the rent on the 7th year? Here, we are given our common difference is 500. This is the amount of increase per year. And of course, our first term, since it is stated here, a house is rented for 6,500 this year. So that means how much is the rental after 1 year? Plus the increase every year, that means 6,500 this year. So next year would be 7,000 pesos. Then next year would be 7,500 pesos, and so on until the 7th year. So our 500 here, which is the amount of increase per year, is called the common difference, and the 6,500 here is our first term. Of course, we need to solve for the amount of rent during the 7th year. That means A sub 7. So we are to find A sub 7, or the amount of rental during the 7th year. So to find the given, we have here our first term, which is A sub 1 equals, which is 6,500. Our common difference is the amount of increase each year, which is 500. And our n is the number of terms. In this case, we have 7 because we are to find the amount of rent on the 7th year. Then our A sub 7 is unknown. This is our unknown. So for the solution, we use this formula, A sub n equals A sub 1 plus the quantity n minus 1 times the d, which is the common difference. So we will substitute. Instead of writing A sub n, we will use A sub 7, which is the amount of rent in the 7th year, equals the amount of rent on the first year. So that is 6,500, or the first term. Then our number of terms is 7 minus 1, and the common difference, which is the amount of increase per year, is 500. So we simplify. 7 minus 1, of course, 6. Then 6 times 500 will give us 3,000. Then add to 6,500 will give us 9,500 pesos. Of course, this is the house rental in the 7th year. So the house rental during the 7th year would be 9,500 pesos. Okay, let's proceed to our last example. In a grocery store, a pile of cans of sardines has a top layer of 3 cans. Each layer has one more can than the layer above. If there are 10 layers, how many cans are there in the pile? So if we are going to analyze this problem, the top layer of pile of cans of sardines contains 3 cans, and each layer contains one more can than the layer above. So if there are 3 cans of sardines on the top layer, so the next layer to that is 4, then the next layer is 5, then the next layer is 6, until it goes to 10 layers. So we are told to find how many cans are there in the pile. So the total number of cans from the first layer up to the 10th layer. So we are going to find our S sub 10 for this problem. So the total number of cans needed from the first top layer up to the 10th layer. So for the given, of course, our first term is 3. Our common difference is 1 because there is one more can than the layer above. There are 3 cans in the first layer, so there are 4 cans in the second layer. So that is 1. Common difference is 1. And of course, the number of terms is 10. And our unknown is S sub 10. So for the solution, we use the formula S sub n equals n over 2 times 2a sub 1 plus the quantity of n minus 1 times d. So we will substitute. Instead of writing S sub n, we will use S sub 10 equals, our n is 10 over 2 times 2, which is constant, times the first term is 3, plus our n is 10, the number of layers, minus 1 times the common difference, which is 1. So we simplify. We have 10 divided by 2 is 5. Then we have 2 times 3 is 6. Then 10 minus 1 is 9. Then multiply that with 1 will give us 9. Then 9 plus 6 is 15. Then 15 times 5 is 75. So our S sub 10 is 75. This is the number of cans in the pile. So there are 75 cans in the pile from first layer up to the 10th layer. Okay? So that's it. I hope you have learned something from this video. So do not forget to subscribe, like, and share to your friends. For now, thank you and God bless.